but she had maybe 4 men at a time with their hands touching her body, you know, at all times, basically. People massaging her feet while she's getting penetrated. Like, how cool would that have felt, you know?
Can I tell you something?
Yeah.
After watching that, I was like, maybe.
Right? I know.
Maybe one day, maybe soon, you know?
Right? There's so much diversity in the people who come to these events. And so when I ask the question of like, what's something sexual that you like really look forward to doing next? Some of them were like eating pussy. Some were like, I want to fuck, you know, some were, I want to hold hands. I remember a guy saying he wanted to hold hands. And I was like,
I was surprised. I was shocked.
yeah, me too. And then another guy said that he wanted a sensual night, not like an aggressive night. And it was so refreshing to hear the honesty that just because everybody's standing around in the same pool of men doesn't mean they're all looking for the same thing. And what's really interesting is in the women I was with, we all wanted something different too. And I've decided to coin a term on this podcast for what we do when we play the intrusive question game. Okay.
What are you going to call it?
The circle jerk of intimacy.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
So I was like, would you like to join our circle jerk of intimacy? And, I didn't pull it. I can't use that part for you, dude. This blue-haired goddess showed up while we were all doing this. And so we were thrilled, right? So we sit her down and I asked her if she's comfortable going over the requirements of the gangbang. Then she would say, you know, how does she want to feel? Where does she like ass slaps? Does she like choking? Does she like hair pulling? What does she like? She said she like nibbles on her skin, right? She was so helpful with being able to describe the things that she wanted, that it was so easy to give to her. She wanted the hands on her at all times kind of thing. And I was also the one picking the men. So I was completely in charge. And so I basically started talking to the group of men and I would communicate the onboarding process if anybody wanted to participate. And I would say, you don't talk to her, you talk to me, you know, careful of the nipples. She's a little sensitive, you know, like I would give them the lowdown and they would nod and like give me the kids and they'd go in. And it was a good feeling because I was being like a coach talking to a player going in, you know, it was like a fun dynamic for me. And then I would walk around, this is in the red room, orgy room, by the way. And I would walk around these men all over my friend and be like, oh, good job. Oh, I see lots of hands on her. That's good. Like you heard that, right? Like that's positive reinforcement. That's making them be reassured that what they're doing is wanted, right? Telling the blue-haired goddess, I turned to her, I said, look at him and remember his face because you're going to want to fuck him again. You know, when you are not in a gangbang situation. She had a Sharpie. She wanted to have a Sharpie on her ass. Every time she fucked a new man, she wanted a line. And so you were the most perfect assistant. You had her bottle of lube in one hand, the Sharpie in the other, and a bottle of water. And you just kept rotating between the three things, what was needed.
Thank you for giving me that opportunity, that experience. I wanted, like, it just felt amazing being your assistant. I was like, yeah, I got to remember what she likes. I remember saying a couple of times, not her nipples, not her nipples, not her nipples, you know? Yeah. Because she said her, they're pierced and, you know, they're just a little sensitive. And lube, you know, like lube, she brought her own lube, which is great. She, you know, she was saying that. And then, so anytime anybody went in after a certain time, I'd always put lube or give them lube in their hand or on their dick. She looked amazing. She has great energy. She's an amazing person. She was very, like, the whole experience was very positive. She was very nice to all the men. You know, the men were nice to her. Yeah. You did a great job. You made sure, you know, it was amazing.
One of my favorite parts was that I was able to pick men who maybe otherwise don't get picked a lot. Like there was people who looked really surprised to be given the opportunity. And so it kind of made me happy because I was also a safe, you know, choice. I wasn't going to hurt their feelings. I was going to be gentle with them, even if their dick didn't get hard, you know, like I was not going to just reject them. So it felt good. At one point we had a sidebar of men that you were like, do we need to clear out because we were getting so full? And I was like, no, not yet. Because I was like, hey, if they needed another moment to get their dick harder or another time, you know, to get, you know, get it back, I wasn't about to kick them out. Like I was like, no, you move to the side, we'll have another guy come in who's ready. So it was really nicely done. It was diplomatically done. I remember,
you know what you're doing. Honestly, you took into consideration everybody's feelings.
and I think, yeah, feelings are still there, even in a gangbang.
Yeah.
You could feel rejected, you could feel embarrassed, you could feel inadequate. These are real feelings, whether
Yeah.
you know you know the person or not, you know.
Yeah. You're amazing at what you do, you Miss Orgy Director.
Thank you. I really felt honored at the end. I gave her a hug at the end. I was so happy for her that she had the night that she wanted. I think she had a great time. I mean, it was one of those warm and fuzzy feel good moments after that. Like, I gotta say, it stood out. When I'm looking at a group of men and looking about who's going to be invited in, and I know that guy's watched my shit, and that, you know, it matters. I can't understate it. It matters. If you find me in the club and you've seen my stuff and you like my stuff, say so. You know, it can help you. I'm a matchmaker. It can help. So at one point, I went around and put my arms on her shoulder and shoved her against the men fucking her so that they would get in deeper. I remember literally also massaging her random foot that was in the air because that was close to me and I didn't want to, you know, feel bored. Like, I was like, let me be useful. I even said to her as she was leaving, I said, you know, all those guys are going to jerk off to that for like ever. You know that, right? Like, it's so true. Like, maybe she wouldn't have thought about that, but I'm like, these guys were part of something fun, a hot girl, a nice girl, right? And so they're gonna go home and be like, holy shit, that was so cool, you know? And like, I hope that she gets joy out of that too, you know? Yeah, I mean, honestly, it was one of those really feel good in the soul moments for me to feel like I helped a girl, you know, have a great safe experience, that I got to see my friend perform well in a scene that was like his dream, you know, like I really got to see my friend on the side being a good assistant and absorbing it. I got to see the guy in between us who wasn't ready to fuck a bunch of women be invited to see front row how this all went down and feel no pressure. He had a great night. It was just like, for as an empath, as somebody who feels energy, I'm like having an orgasm of other people's good feelings. Okay.
Same.
That's great.
I had an orgasm of some other sort.
Yeah.
It felt it was an amazing experience.
Yeah, it was pretty, I hope for her it was pretty memorable. In a way, some of the men that were participating in the gangbang were my friends or acquaintances or fans. And I would talk to them separately one-on-one and give them advice, right? Like, I was there to help them succeed too. And if they wanted to eat a girl out, I would, you know, like, oh, why don't you eat her out? Like, I would help them accomplish their goals too. And so that's what I really liked, is I'm multitasking people's needs and wants in a sex club, but also playing the match game. It's so fun because it's like, oh, ding, ding, ding. He wants a sensual blowjob. She likes giving sensual blowjobs. We've got a match. Like, it was, you know, it was so fun. It was one of the most positive feeling after, where I felt that everybody involved, I can't think of even one exception. I think everybody involved, I think, had a good night. They were treated with respect and dignity. You know, the men specifically, right? And regardless of how big their penis was, regardless if their penis was cooperating with them or not, they were always treated with respect and the same genuine smile, right? And I think it made me feel good. It made me feel good. That's why I do it.
You can find my podcast on any of the apps you see on your screen.